We've talked about the greatest good, and we've talked about the greatest number. Now what about the longest run? What do you think Gifford Pinchot meant by that? Pinchot was the director of the Forest Service. He was talking about preserving our natural resources, making sure they lasted as long as possible. Sustainability. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? And as a matter of fact, that's what gets me going in the morning. Okay, I'm weird, but I'm what they call an ecological economist. I study the impact of the economy on our planet. And I can tell you right now, the picture isn't pretty. Have you ever heard of your ecological footprint? In short, it's the share of the earth needed to provide your stuff and absorb your waste. Or mine. And we Americans fill the biggest shoes on the planet. You can figure out your footprint by taking a little test. You might be shocked at the result. Try it. I use 10 acres, kind of like a typical European. There's a problem with that. If everyone's feet were as big as mine, that is, if everyone on Earth consumed like I do, we'd need 2 planets. That's the good news. Now here's the bad news. If you're a typical American, your ecological footprint is about 25 acres. We'd need 5 planets if everyone used as much as an American does. We use 1/4 of the world's oil each year, more than 1/4 of its resources. It all ends up as waste. Enough waste to fill a convoy of garbage trucks stretching halfway to the moon. Now consider what goes into making all those products of ours. Chemicals. Thousands of them. Most of them never tested for safety in combination with other chemicals. Some untested at all. We can't grow on like this. You know, economists talk a lot about capital. What they usually mean is built capital. The factories that make our products, for example, or the roads we drive on. But there are other kinds of capital. There's human capital, our education, health, and skills. We know we're a little capital poor when it comes to those things. Then there's social capital, our relationships, and families, and communities. We're coming up short there, too. The average American now has only 2 friends she can truly confide in. 1/4 of us have none at all. And finally, there's natural capital. All the things we take from nature to sustain ourselves. That's worth a lot. If you haven't thought about how important natural capital is, try my test. What do you value more? Nature's gifts or stuff? You have a choice. You can have all Bill Gates' wealth, all $50 billion, or just one of nature's products, oxygen, which has no market value at all, no GDP value. Which would you choose? If you think you'd choose Bill's money, try holding your breath for 5 minutes. I love my laptop. So light, so much memory, so warm and fuzzy. And before it has time to get wrinkles, there'll be a new one on the market. Lighter, faster, sexier. But that's the problem. We're changing models every year. Hurry up, will you? Patience is so yesterday. So, Americans throw millions of these things away every year. Hazardous waste, filled with toxic chemicals of all kinds, dropped in landfills or shipped overseas, polluting rivers, poisoning drinking water. Out of sight, out of mind. And the GDP goes up. Now that's just the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even gotten to global warming. But Al Gore already told you about that, so I won't belabor the point. Longest run indeed. I'm feeling a little queasy.